Welcome to this edition of Brittany's Bites, everyone. We are making a fairly quick weeknight dinner, something that comes together with just a few simple ingredients. It is fresh, it is fairly healthy, and it's easy to do. So let's get started. We are making a cherry tomato pasta. So you can get whatever kind of cherry tomatoes you'd like at the store. I picked up these. It's a very large container. It's kind of twice the size of the ones I normally get. So I just took out half and I washed them and rinsed them, and they're ready to go. So I'm just gonna chop them in half and place them in the bowl. We're gonna get things marinating together to develop some flavor. So give me a moment. I'm just gonna, again, chop them rather in half like that, put them in here, and then we'll move on to the next step and the next ingredient. Okay, we have our pretty little tomatoes cut in half and right here in the bowl, ready to go. So the next ingredients we'll put in is some garlic. Now use as much or as little as you like, but this recipe is gonna have potentially some raw garlic in it, so you only wanna use as much garlic as you can handle. I had one big clove that I already minced up, so I'm just gonna put that in here, and I think that will do me just fine. Then we're gonna put on some olive oil. You wanna have some good olive oil and really just kind of drench it. Put it all in there, lots of good gloops. And then some salt and pepper. Salt. You wanna really salt up those tomatoes. Ooh, I'll grab that later. And then some pepper. And then we wanna put in some fresh basil. I have some leaves here. And we're gonna, you can rip it up, but I think we'll try julienne. And if you don't know how to do that, just take off a bunch of big leaves like this, and then you're gonna stack them on top of each other like this. All right, make sure like maybe the biggest one is on the outside, and then we're gonna roll it up very, 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 very tightly, as tight as you can. Then take your knife and just go through it like this, right down the line. Of course, I got a little wet because of my cutting board, but there you see, hopefully, that you have nice julienne basil. So we're gonna put that all in here. And that is really, oh, actually, there is one more ingredient I wanna add. And you could leave this out if you'd like, if you don't like spice, but I wanna put in some red pepper flakes. Great, that's tons of basil, which I love, and it smells so great in here. Okay, some red pepper flakes I'm gonna sprinkle in. And really, those are your basic ingredients. We are ready to go. So here's the deal. You can leave that sitting out as long as you would like. Ina Garden has a recipe like this, and I think she says leave it out for 4 hours, and then she just puts her pasta directly into it and leaves it like that. We're gonna do an extra step of cooking it up a bit. So really, you could go with it now. You could leave it for half an hour or do a couple of hours. What I like to do is maybe right when I get home from work, put this together and then go do the other things I need to do and then come back to it, and then it comes together in a snap. So we'll let this sit out and then move on to the next step. We are ready for our next step in the cherry tomato pasta. We're gonna get things cooking. Now they've been sitting in here for just a little bit. All of those flavors are coming together. It smells fantastic. Again, you could keep it just like this, nice and fresh, add in some pasta and go. But I'm going to bring it together to just have a little bit of sauciness added. So I have a pan getting hot over here, hopefully not too hot. And then I'm gonna, again, you already have this olive oil in here, so that's why I'm not adding anything into the pan. The olive oil that's already in here is gonna be just fine. Yep, it's sizzling. So I'm gonna make sure I get all of my things in here and probably turn down the heat on this just a little bit. You don't need it sizzling quite that much. But basically, I'm just gonna get these cherry tomatoes cooking a little bit, not quite to where they're blistered, although you could do that if you'd like. And then I'm going to try to bring it together to get a little saucy. A couple of things I'm gonna add. Perhaps some of the starchy pasta water that I saved, and then also just a little Parmesan cheese. You could also add some butter, whatever you wanna do to bring it together, but I'm just going to cook this up for just a few minutes and add a couple of things into it, so I'll be right back. The tomatoes are really cooking down now and I can smell that garlic. I definitely don't want the garlic to burn, so I'm gonna move on to the next step. Now, while those tomatoes were sitting out and getting their flavors combined earlier, I boiled some pasta, just some thin spaghetti. I love angel hair, but I used what I had on hand, and I have it over here. I'm just gonna grab I've already drained it and it's ready to go. Just gonna plop it right in here. And sometimes when I'm doing this on the stove back there, I will just sort of scoop it right from the water because having some pasta water in there is just fine because I'm gonna put some in and bring it all together. So I just wanna start stirring this all up, bringing the flavors together. I'm gonna go ahead and add in some of this pasta water just to make it a little saucy. Put that in there and keep stirring. You can kind of tell by the sound of the pasta coming together when it gets to be where you'd like it to be, but really, you're almost done here. I have one more little thing I'm gonna add as an optional topping, and I'll talk about that in just a moment, but I'm gonna add now a little bit of Parmesan cheese. I think it just gives a little something to this. So I'm gonna add some right here. I can get this opened. Oh, I'm gonna do the other side. I need it to come out a little faster than that. Whoop, there we go. We're gonna put a lot of cheese in here today. I'm gonna keep going, and if you need to, add a little bit more of that pasta water. So I'm gonna keep working with this until I get it to where I'm satisfied, but again, it could be fine right now, but I'll show you what I mean when I'm done. Okay, if you can take a look at this, you can see how there's a little sauce coming together here with it, with the tomatoes. That is where I like to have it. Again, cook it as long as you want or not. That's why I also kept the pasta pretty al dente because I knew it was gonna cook just a bit longer in here. So that's a little tip and a trick as well. But it looks pretty good, ready to be served up. So I'll show you the last thing I do. I'm gonna see if I can not get this everywhere as I put it into my pan or my bowl here. Put that in there. And then of course I want some tomatoes. Put those here. Looks so great. Sometimes I'll do some fresh cracked pepper right on top. But the other thing you can add, totally optional, is these little mozzarella pearls. I've made the mistake of trying to put these into the hot pan and it just turns into a gloopy mess. So after I scoop it out, I just put a couple there on top, and then whoever is eating it can mix them in if they'd like. But take a look at that, an easy, fresh weeknight dinner that you can give a try yourself. You can find the recipe right now on WBIR.com.